decided to talk a little bit about my career today because there are plenty of things that I do in my work that I think that it was pretty hard to get through myself because nobody told me what I have to do. And that actually sometimes you don't understand if it's actually worth to be a self-employed person as I am nowadays. Let's talk about it. First of all, my name is Raquel. I'm from Brazil. I'm an English teacher and I'm a self-employed person. And as you can see, this is my workstation, and I'm not going to show you any details right now because it's pretty messy. I'm about to start a class, so I just decided to record this video a little bit before to test my new camera, actually my new phone. And maybe I have already commented about something in one of the videos I have already posted, but I'm going to comment again. When I started working this way, I had just come back from the United States, and it was in the middle of the pandemic, and nobody could work in offices, in schools, and all. So I had to find my way to work, and I found an online school here in Brazil to work as an English teacher online. And it was a very nice period for me because although the school paid me really badly, I learned a lot of things working through this way, that actually I could find students by myself and that I could do it by myself if I wanted to earn more. And in order to make more money, I decided to get my own students, and it was pretty hard to keep both ways of working at the same time. So I decided to quit school and keep just my classes. And out of nowhere, that was my job. So I wasn't trying to find any physical school to work anymore, because at first I didn't search to any physical school, like regular school, because everything was closed. But at some point, everything opened again. So I decided not to do anything about it because I was actually making my life working this way. So working as an online teacher became actually my job. It wasn't just something that I was doing to earn a little bit more money. It wasn't like a freelance. And I have to say that in a certain point I chose it because, as I told you, when I came back, I was working in an online school, and then I decided not to do it anymore because I got so many students that it was impossible to keep them both. But in fact, my first choice would be searching a job in a school because I had a very good background. Like, I just came back from another country, another English-speaking country, and I had already concluded my graduation. I was starting my master degree. I was like just starting a whole career. So my perfect idea would be working in a school. But then um, at some point, I discovered that if I just try to get rid of it, it would be really hard to make the same amount of money that I make working by myself. So one of my choices was working this way. Otherwise, it would be impossible to earn more. Actually, it would be pretty stressing to work in a school because in my job, everything works the way I want. I do the things I want. I teach the way I believe is the best way. I think the way I teach, the way that I think is actually effective. I don't try to keep students for many years in my classes. I want them to learn and grow and stop the classes because they're actually fluent, they are comfortable with their English and all. But I didn't plan any of it. I just went with the flow. And honestly, I have to say that I was pretty lucky because everything worked out. And I have a very amazing home office nowadays. And this is actually my job. And I have an Instagram profile where I share about my classes and I sell my classes. And then I have a very nice home office with all of my books. I have an armchair and like plenty of dreams that I had went through because of the way I work, but I couldn't choose myself. And I'm not going to say that I'm not happy now, but what I want to say, if you want to work by yourself one day, is be careful the paths you can take, because it's pretty easy to think this is not for you, or that it's easy if you just work in a regular company. And to be honest, yes, it is. Of course, there are other consequences that it's pretty bad as well. Like, you have to always talk to someone that is over you and that you have to give a response for them about everything you're doing. But to be honest, you don't have to think about big taxes. You don't have to think about growing. And the point that I'm doing this video is actually to talk about growing, because this is something that capitalism always makes us to think about, and I don't like to think about this so much because I get anxious. In Brazil, I believe that in other countries too, we have an amount of money you can reach to pay in a specific value of taxes every year. And if you trespass it, if you go beyond it, you have to pay much more. Actually, you have to pay like 10% of what you earn in the whole year. So it's actually a lot. When you get to this point, you can think like, well, the business is growing. hmm In fact, the business is growing. But after you reach this certain number, it's so hard to grow. It's so hard to keep the way you're growing because the basis you have to reach this first number, this first step in your career is zero. So from zero to this point is a lot. But actually, if you don't have any base for anything, if the first number you can reach is one, earning this amount here is actually such a big step. When you get to this point, probably you can get a little crazy about it, or you can be really thoughtful about what you can do now. And I have to say that I'm in this point of my career right now because I grew and I want to keep growing because I want to do stuff. Like, I want to buy a house, I want to have a car, I want to raise kids, I want to travel, you know. And unfortunately, things are getting more and more expensive. And I think about it all the time because seems that few days ago I was just worried about a new shirt that I would like to buy. And now I'm thinking that my business is growing and that I have to do something about it. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to just keep the life this way because I will always work so much and I will always earn the same amount. And if I keep earning the same amount, I don't think it's going to be possible to do everything I want. And I know that I don't have the idea that I have to do everything I want. I don't think life is actually about it. But it's pretty frustrating when you put a lot of energy on something and you want to see this thing growing, this thing have like going forward. But you have to think. And one of the things I couldn't do was actually thinking. I just did it. And of course, there were plenty of advantages that I took. But in fact, now I'm like, I have to be patient because I can't fight against the capitalism the way I would like to. So I have to be patient to myself and understand that in my business, it's just me and my husband. So we don't have the power and to do everything we want. We can invest on everything we want. So we have to take step by step. But if I can recommend you something, if you actually want to have your own business, I really recommend you to try have a project. Having a project is such an important thing that I couldn't imagine where my business would go if I did it from the scratch. And I'm not saying that you have to have the whole idea since the beginning, but we always think if everything goes wrong, but what if everything goes right? And I don't think I was ready for everything to go well, you know, because everything went so wrong for such a long time in my life that seeing something actually working out was pretty hard for me to believe, you know. So now I'm in this point of my career that I'm like growing and that I'm thinking what to do next. And in fact, now I finally have a plan, and this plan is coming over pretty soon. And I'm going to make a vlog about it to tell you everything about it. But what I have to say to you is if you want to do it one day, if you want to stop working to someone, first of all, think, do you actually want it? Because although I know the importance of money, but do you know the importance of your mental health and how it is important to keep yourself well, to treat yourself well? And I'm asking you this because this is not this is not something that I was considered. It's not just the money that comes into your bank account because you have to pay taxes, you have to pay psychologists, you have to pay your bills, you have to improve your work, and like money goes. The money goes and goes and goes, and you have to invest on it. So the money you receive when you work for yourself is not actually the money you are able to spend for yourself only. And this is really frustrating. It's not like when you're employed by someone else. So consider this, not only this, but all the other things when you are working for another person. Think also about the other things that when you are working for another person, you receive the money, the taxes that you don't have to worry so much about. And weekends, I know that sometimes when someone else gives you a job, sometimes you have to work on weekends, and sometimes your job can be abusive and all. But think that if you can find a better environment in the same workspace, and I'm not saying this to you because I wanted you to give up about being self-employed, but I'm actually saying the reality that when you are self-employed, and especially when you like what you do, your work becomes your life if you don't be careful. And if your work becomes your life, who are you in the end of the day? Am I just an English teacher? Like, it's not that I don't like to be an English teacher. I love it. And this is the most stressing part because I would like it less so then I could separate me a little bit from it. And then now I think I can do it more, but until I get to this point that I'm comfortable about the things the way they are, I struggled so much to like detach it. I just want to be honest with you that there are plenty of good stuff about being self employed, but it's not actually everything as people on Instagram makes us believe, because I see so many people saying that you have to sell your product, that you have to make content, that you have to something, and you don't have to anything. And maybe you can start thinking like, so why are you in this way? So as I already told you, I was inserted on this, and then I decided to keep on this because that's what made sense for me according to the age I was, according to how much I was earning, and according to my personal decisions for my mental health. You have to put a lot of things on balance to make sure it's worth for you. Don't let people sell you something on Instagram about what business you have to follow, what idea of lifestyle you have to have just because they want to, just because they are selling their product through this. Anyways, I have plenty of other things to say about business, but I would like to know what you would like to ask me because I've reached a very nice point in my life working by myself, and I'm pretty happy about it. And I struggled so much with plenty of things that nobody taught me to. So if you want to learn something with me, if you want to ask me something, if you want to say something, I'm pretty open to know it and to discuss about it in another video in the future. So you can send me comments here or DM me on my Instagram. You know my ad, which is the same name of my channel, Once Upon a Raquel. And that's it. I hope you have enjoyed. See you on the next video. Bye bye.